generation did well, one thing that our generation done mastered is how to spread information. One, two, how to manifest. If our generation did do nothing for history, putting the word manifestation out more and spreading different ways to manifest has been spread at most by us, Gen Z. You see what I'm saying? The young ones, you feel me? The crazy ones. We a little off, but we was not off. They was not off. This comes all the way from the 1800s. Nikola Tesla said it best. Once you understand the power of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, then you unlock the key to the universe. Then you understand how the universe works. Now, I'm going to just say to y'all, we see angel numbers for a reason. It's because numbers are not biased. Once you start to tap into a certain vibration, these numbers attach to you. Angels speak to you. Back to what I was saying though. We have really learned different ways to manifest our reality because we simply don't want to work. Who wants to work anymore? And we realize that the power of writing something down can change your life. The power of saying something a certain amount of times can change your life. And not only that, the power of being real delulu about something can still make you manifest something into reality. Now, the reason why the 369 method is so effective is because the power of the numbers 3, 6, and 9 connect the whole universe. And if you want to look more into it, I got another video here explaining how. But right now, I'm going to tell you, if you are trying to manifest something, every morning, write it down 3 times. Every afternoon, write it down 6 times. And every evening, write it down 9 times. Every night, write it down 9 times. And if you don't know where to start, this book, really, I'm so for real. This book will keep you accountable. This book will keep you on track. At the beginning of the book, it literally makes you sign your name and say, I vow to this day to commit to my personal growth. I promise to fill this out until it's completed. I promise to love and embrace myself fully through the process. Another reason why I feel like just writing it down won't be as effective as using like a book. I will say you can just write it down. It's because a lot of people don't even know what they're trying to affirm. A lot of people don't even know what they're trying to manifest. And a lot of people's subconscious is full of BS because they don't do affirmations, because they affirm negative things and they manifest negative things because their subconscious has negative affirmations. And one thing I like about this book is that not only does it have the little parts where it says like what to do and then you can stand on like the morning, afternoon, and evening, they also have a list of affirmations. So like if you don't know what you want to write every morning, they have affirmations for relationships, affirmations for abundance. I'm not playing this right here. Affirmations for abundance, affirmations for health, affirmations for wealth, everything you might need. Not only that, they have a self-care menu in the book. I'm not going to tell you what's in it because you need to get it if you want to see it. But it's a loving action that you can do to take care of yourself, because people fail to realize that what they write and the time they spend in stuff like this really can change their life. And the things you say to yourself really can change your life. And like I said, my favorite thing about this book is that if I didn't know what I wanted to write, if you don't know what you want to write to change your life, to write down every single day, the affirmations are in here not only to write down, but to read every single day out loud to yourself and change your life like that, period. That will already change your life. Saying it 3 times, saying it 6 times, and then saying it 9 times. But then they give you the ability to take a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and make your own affirmations to put here. And then they have, what were my achievements from the last week? How did taking action towards my goals feel? Stuff like that up in here. And then it says, look within yourself, all this other stuff up in here. All I'm saying is, if you are a firm believer about manifestation, like I was saying, if you already believe in manifesting your reality, then this will speed it up times 10. You should be doing this manifestation method. The 369 method works. And on another note, if you don't believe, then buy it. If you don't believe, don't even buy it. Start off with just writing it down and see how much your life changed. Honestly, truly, see how much your life changed. And I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to use this book to manifest $100,000. $100,000. in sales. And it's going to come to me. I'm a true believer. Keep watching and see if it blows up.
But it didn't tell me what in tarnations is going on. So surely by now you understand that history is a lie. And what you think is up is really down. And what you thought was left is really right. And what I mean by that is they've changed names, places, dates, people. They've changed everything. So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to tell me that this temple that was built for Ramesses II, which was carved into a mountain, you was able to chop up into small pieces and move to a different location? Come on, brother. Just look at this woman's face. I know what she's thinking. She's thinking, they ain't gonna see this one coming. Oh, we've got their ass now. So the mainstream narrative says the reason why they moved the temple is because the sea levels was rising and they didn't want it to get flooded. Really? Look how long that temple was supposed to have been there. It's supposed to be an ancient temple, right? And all of a sudden it's in danger of being flooded. Come on, brother. Just take a look at these guys. Looking back at them. Like, yeah, we've done a good job here. We got the noses right and everything. I mean, wanna look at this on a deeper level. This don't even look ancient.
Now, what's the whitest thing you know? Whiter than the driven snow, whiter than the whites of your eyes? Sugar. Non-integrated, non-black, sweet sugar. But you see, there is a black man in your sugar. His name is Norbert Rillier. Norbert Rillier in 1846 invented a vacuum pan that revolutionized the sugar refining industry. Now, you have to dig to find that fact. I mean, it's not much history, but it's still history. Now, what do you stand in? In your shoes. Now, there's just you and your shoes, isn't it? No. See, there's a black man standing in your Oxfords with you. Sharing your soul and your heel is a man, his name is Jan Ernst Metzelger. And in 1863, this is joined by the kids, Metzelger invented the machine that made mass-produced shoes possible. Now you have to dig around for that fact, too. And again, it's not much history, but it's history. Am I coming in clear to California? I mean, is this TV signal driving through a pass in the Sierra Nevada mountains and slipping into San Francisco? Okay, well, I want to thank you, Jim Beckworth. Jim Beckworth, out of St. Louis, hunter, trapper, and honorary chief of the Crow tribe of Indians. We had trouble finding you, Jim. Though you helped open the West, you didn't make the books. Chicago, right here, where the Wrigley building is. A young fellow by the name of Jean-Baptiste de Sales. Jean Baptiste, he founded Chicago when he traded with the Indians. And of course, there it is right there at that particular time. It was called Chicago or Stinking Onion by the Indians. And de Sales, he didn't even change the name at all. Now you take the Lewis and Clark expedition here, right in there. You'll find a black man named York helping to open the West. Those men are trying to wash the black out of York. That's what you might call historically significant because a lot of people think we ought to wash white, but we ain't gonna, you see. Texas. Coming to you, Texas. Right down the Chisholm Trail, right here. Right down there with 5,000 black cowboys who never made it to the Hollywood West. Did you know that? Huh? In this same group, there was one black outlaw. His name was Deadwood Dick, who claimed his soul brothers were Bat Masterson, Billy the Kid, and Jesse James. Deadwood Dick used to ride into the saloon, order 2 drinks, one for himself and one for his horse. And here's his horse, drinking a shot of red eye with straw. And how about the 186,000 blacks who fought on the Union side during the Civil War? 38,000 died. How about Teddy Roosevelt's charge up San Juan Hill? It wasn't just the Rough Riders who made it. 4 black regiments went right up with Teddy. They didn't get lost going up the hill. They got lost in the history books. How about the North Pole? Snow White? Well, the first man there was black, Matthew Henson. He spoke Eskimo. And he was Admiral Perry's navigator. And although he made it first to the pole, it never quite made it to the history books. And how about your heart? Can we get there? All right. Daniel Hale Williams first performed open heart surgery successfully. Now, this list could go on forever. Blacks who made it, blacks who made history, but who didn't get into the history text at all. And the strange thing is how little there is about us in the textbooks. Napoleon once said history is a fable agreed upon, and the fable agreed upon up to now is that American history is white on white. But sometimes we did get into the history books. All wrong. Now you take this one. The Growth of the American Republic, 1942 edition. Samuel Eliot Morrison, Henry Steele Commager. Quote, as for. This has to do with slavery. As for Sambo, Professor Morrison. Sambo, Professor Commager. As for Sambo, whose wrongs moved the abolitionists to wrath and tears, there is some reason to believe that he suffered less than any other class in the South from its peculiar institution. Peculiar institution means slavery. Although brought to America by force, the incurably optimistic Negro soon became attached to the country and devoted to his white folks. Unquote. Those lines were written by two Pulitzer Prize-winning white Northern professors.
This is why I keep telling people, if you want to know about Lucifer and his fall, go to Isaiah chapter 14, starting at verse 12. Also in Ezekiel chapter 28, where it refers to the lamentation of the king of Tyre, comparing him to Lucifer and his fall. People go, the Dracos, the reptilians, they're part of this race, they're part of that race, they're part of an ET race. Yeah, they're part of one. Lucifer in the garden was the serpent. It all stems from there. Now we go, well, that's only a few thousand years ago. No. According to modern day traditional teaching that is to make you blind, it's only a few thousand years ago. This has been going on for millions of years. Linda Moulton Howe, she talks about the 70 million year experiment of the dinosaurs, and that the Dracos were part of that. The human sacrifice, the blood sacrifice, all of this, the pineal gland and all that of the fear factor and all this stuff. Who do you think's feeding on that? These are as close to demonic entities as you can get. They shapeshift. I've seen them. They shapeshift. They do whatever they want to do. And they're walking amongst you, and you think we're a bunch of kooks and crazy for saying this. Those of us who do this, and those of us who talk about this, we don't do it for no reason. I'm telling you right now, I know David Wilcox is he's a writer, he's a producer, movie producer, things like that. People are, he's just trying to get, recognition or trying to come up with these stories to get fame, but he's not. And he mentions Stephen Greer being part of the groups and things like this, but Stephen Greer says that anybody that believes in reptilians or all this other stuff, that's hogwash. He calls it hogwash. Look it up. Well, why is he talking about him in this footage? And in the same footage, he's talking about reptilians. So why does Stephen Greer say they're hogwash? I'll leave that up to you. Leave your comments.
They appear to have... Okay, well, it's a strange story, but part of the briefings I've gotten is that the moon was put in place 65 million years ago, and there's some debate as to whether it was then or a lot more recent, but I don't know if they really know. But one of the theories is the moon was put in place to bring about the fall of the dinosaurs, to create seasons. That the moon is a spaceship, that it was flown into position, it orbits the Earth, and in so doing, mammalian life now predominates, whereas before it was reptilian life. And the reptilians had, the dinosaur species apparently did evolve into a hominid race that was intelligent. that got wiped out when this took place, the 65 million year ago incident. They did get driven underground, so that is a classic element of the story. But then the Draco Alliance, the negative ETs, say that, you know, we persecuted the reptilians, we traumatized them, we drove them underground, and now we have to pay tribute, we have to pay rent to be here. And so the treaty, the negative treaty, is that we're apparently giving them humans as
Or meat suits.
yeah, for whatever they want to use us for, whether they want to dine on us or have us as workers or whatever. We trade a certain number of humans per year. So in my own experience, Danica, I've had multiple invitations to this group. I've had bribes in the billions of dollars for me.
I mean, Greer's talks about getting bribed for billions too. I've interviewed him a couple of times.
When you go out there and you're involved in this stuff like I am, they really would love to have you on their side. They really would love to have you as a mouthpiece. And so I was told, for example, that I could do everything the way I do it now, and the only thing that I would have to do different in order to get this money is to, quote-unquote, speak favorably about Lucifer. And they had this philosophy they wanted people to talk about, which is that, you know, well, Lucifer is a benevolent, misunderstood angel. And God abandoned us up in heaven, but Lucifer stayed down here with us. Look, a God that tells you got to go around hurting people is not a God I want to be involved with.
Yo, what up, man? It's French Dopes. And we about to talk about it, man. I do this for educational purposes only, right? I'm not here to disrespect nobody, put nobody down, TikTok. I'm only here to tell the truth about this guy right here. The gatekeeper's done with that guy. The gatekeepers are literally going to throw this guy to the wolves. They're going to show him how much, right, they care. And then, like, because P. Diddy thought P. Diddy was, he's been around, he's been around the world, right? You remember that song, you and Mace, right? And it's going to be over now, right? All that dirt that you did to other celebrities, and we don't have that much sympathy on a lot of these celebrities, but still, you thought you was going to get away with a lot of this stuff, P. Diddy. You thought if Keefy D is in that jail like they saying he is, right? You don't think he gonna give up the goods? You think that the gatekeepers really got your back, right? And this is the thing. This is what's crazy though. If they do, and we don't see this man go to jail, then we know who P. Diddy is, bro. P. Diddy is strong. P. Diddy runs a whole lot of stuff, man. And we gotta remember, man, there's a lot of suspect things that was going on with P. Diddy. He had people feeling uncomfortable around him. You can see the videos, they were uncomfortable. I'm doing this respectfully, right? I'm doing this respectfully, bro. And you made a lot of other men feel uncomfortable being around you, and we all know why, right? But the thing is, P. Diddy, right? If you think that you really got away with that, right? You know, right? Because you got gods that you praise to, right? Those demons, right? But you know you got to still answer to somebody. All of us, me too. All of us here on earth, we have to answer to the one true God. That's it. We all going to have to do that on one day. And if you thought that you got away with this once again, right? You didn't really. Cause I'll be trying to tell everybody this to keep everybody on point so they can remember, bro. Cause one day you're gonna have to answer to the man in the sky. And a lot of y'all people want to act like he's not real, but trust and believe he's real. He shows me signs, bro, to let me know that he's real. I know it's real. And if these people are doing this, right, then we know it's real. If there's a devil, then there's a God, bro. Right? And if Keefy D is locked up, you don't think that he's not going to give them the goods for real? The thing is that a lot of the government already knows this. There's government officials right now inside people that know that P. Diddy had involvement with the murder of Tupac. And he's been all around the world for all these years. And now I think the gatekeepers is going to feed you to the wolves, bro. We're going to see. We're going to find out, though. We're going to find out, because that detective over there in L.A., right, he's working too. P. Diddy, right? So you had, I believe that Jamie Foxx and P. Diddy had an issue, right? And I believe that that's going to come up too. So all you people that was upset with me about the video that I made dealing with Jamie Foxx and P. Diddy, right, that made it to 2 million views, and Cameron Diaz, and the $3,300 that somebody tried to scam him out of after beefing with this man and going back and forth with this man and thinking that they, and all that comes to light, what y'all want? Y'all want to give me an apology? But the gatekeepers, I believe they done with this guy, man. But we'll find out. Leave it in the comments, hit the like button. Definitely follow me here on TikTok. Go to my bio and holla at me on YouTube. I got another channel as well, man. I got another TikTok account as well. It's Chris Stokes. All you gotta do is put in Chris Stokes, and you'll see me pop up right over there. Please go follow me over there, y'all. We up out of here. Matter of fact, I'll leave it in the comments. I'll put the link in the comments for y'all. Everybody enjoy your day, man. The gatekeepers are done with this guy. Salute.
Put that out there.
For panic, but it is a time for vigilance. We shouldn't stop conducting our daily lives, going to schools, houses of worship, and so forth. But we should be vigilant. You often hear the expression, if you see something, say something. That's never been more true than now. And that's probably partly why the American people are reporting more tips and leads to us, and we're pursuing those threats and leads as vigorously and responsibly as we can.
That was the FBI director who testified under oath this morning. He, along with the Secretary of Homeland Security, said since the war between Israel and Hamas began, the threats against Americans specifically have increased.
In the days and weeks since, we have responded to an increase in threats against Jewish, Muslim, and Arab American communities and institutions across our country.
The reality is that the terrorism threat has been elevated throughout 2023. But the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level. It's raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level.
Now, I am not trying to scare you with this information. That is never what I do. But I do believe it is important to share with you the very real threats our federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies are testifying to under oath in front of U.S. senators, which is exactly what happened this morning for more than 3 hours, and they did not mince words. They were there to testify about the need for Congress to approve the funding the president has asked for the southern border and for all the other programs the FBI, Homeland Security, and the National Counterterrorism Center needs to do their jobs. Funding, which in lots of cases is about to expire. And allowing that to happen, according to the FBI, would be the worst case scenario, especially right now.
Al-Qaeda issued its most specific call to attack the United States in the last 5 years. ISIS urged its followers to target Jewish communities in the United States and Europe. Hezbollah has publicly expressed its support for Hamas and threatened to attack U.S. interests in the Middle East. And we've seen an increase in attacks on U.S. military bases overseas carried out by militia groups backed by Iran. Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is that violent extremists, individuals or small groups, will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives.
You heard the witnesses testifying at the beginning of this video about the escalating threats to Jewish, Arab, and Muslim Americans, but by far, the FBI director says the Jewish community in this country is disproportionately being targeted.
24% of the American public, 60% of religious-based hate crimes. They're getting it from racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists, ISIS-inspired violent extremists, foreign terrorist organizations, whether they be Sunni like Al-Qaeda or ISIS, or Shia like Hezbollah. And so this is a group that has the outrageous distinction of being uniquely targeted, and they need our help.
The FBI director outlined all the things his agency is doing to put a stop to these types of threats, including arresting those who are threatening to harm Americans. He says that, of course, will continue, but he encourages Americans to also keep their heads on a swivel.
But across the country, in each and every one of the FBI's 56 field offices, we are addressing these threats with a sense of urgency. Among other things, that means working closely with our federal, state, and local partners through our FBI-led Joint Terrorism Task Forces to ensure that together we stay laser focused on mitigating threats.
Doors, and to hear honks, horns, cars, and to smell emissions, that shit ain't natural.
Facts.
You think it's natural to open up your door and look and it's 2 trees within a 5-block radius? That's not natural. You think it's natural to walk on concrete all day? You scared to even take your shoes off. You've been taught taking your shoes off is dusty, it's savage, it's primitive.
And of course we didn't evolve to wear shoes, especially we didn't evolve to wear cushioned shoes. And so one of the interesting questions that this research raises is, we need to understand more what that consequence is for joint damage.
You have been disassociated with your body. You have been disassociated with your health. You have been disassociated with spirituality. You have been disassociated with your language. You have been disassociated with your land. You have been disassociated with your customs. You have been disassociated with your traditions. But they got disease right now. I mean, we really gotta make this make sense.
Nah, I don't believe that one. Maybe.
Y'all remember I was telling y'all on that live, you know what I'm saying, let me rephrase myself real quick on it. All these motherfucking lakes is man-made, and most of these oceans got water on top of the real oceans. Yeah, I meant that shit, folks.
What happened was they put the lake in that spot to cover up the ruins.
Oh,
right.
Interesting.
4D test right there.
Yeah. So you're saying all lakes are man-made?
You know, 53,000. So if you're going to go with how many are in America, that's a lot, right? So 53,000. And the average lake sits at about, the average, well, if we're going to go with dams and everything, they sit at about 40%. So if they're technically low, right, that's what they try to tell you, it's always low. It's never actually full. So they're always going to pull the hole while we're running water because there's not a lot of water in those dams. But it's interesting because even the Hoover Dam and that whole thing that was built, that's all part of the Phoenix and Arizona right here in this state. And that's got a lot of ancient lineage over there too as well. And it's interesting because that was right around the time with the Phoenix Fire, which was 1916 on September 23rd. So that's kind of right around that time when all those things were happening. But this water deceiving is basically you have these controllers who hold the water up here, and then they say down here, you're water, when in reality there's water coming out of the earth. So for example, California had an earthquake. This was 3 years ago. Northern California had an earthquake. And all of a sudden, one of the rivers just started pouring water. And the people were like, what the heck is going on? There's water coming out of the river. The river hasn't had water ever, right? So people were completely baffled that now water is coming back. Then on top of that, you had back in the 1950s when the lakes were actually low, they used primary water, which is the water coming up from inside the earth, to refill Lake Elsinore when it got low in the 1950s. So the people who are up here holding the water know of primary water because they use it to their advantage. And someone, if we're going to take it to another level, was saying that's how they did floods. They understood how to get that primary water out of the earth and then they could flood an area. So it's interesting with the whole primary water because we're never taught about it.
is over here. These trees are getting water from somewhere else. They're not getting water from the sky. They're getting water from deep inside the earth.
I want to know how y'all feel about this here. Like, follow, favorite, and share for more content.
1893. That is a very impressive boat. Almost looks like a submarine. 1893. Interesting. And then you have this one, which has more what look like beautiful birds. And it looks like a Christmas tree up on top. But look at that's a castle. I mean, if anybody saw that, and anybody was around at that time, I mean, you would think this is a castle. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I used to play with Legos as a kid. These are castles. This is what you were building when you played with Legos. You were building castles. And then, to take it a step further, they had a steamship. Remember steam? The Titanic was based on steam. So many different ships that were running on steam. They had to get rid of steam because they had to come with the oil companies. They had to get rid of steam and electric. 1893, you had steam and electric cars, and you had all this steam and electric revolution, but that had to be phased out so that the oil companies could come in and take their place and then sell back steam and electric in 2023 and say that it's going to save the planet. So what's interesting is here's the steamship of Michigan, and look at that thing. Look at how massive that thing is. This is 1893, and what's also interesting is here is a pier and movable sidewalk. So you would walk on the pier, and you would take the movable sidewalk, and it would take you down the pier, and you would go back and forth. Now what's interesting is if you go to Navy Pier in Chicago right now, this doesn't exist. This is all gone. And what's interesting is you would think for tourism that you would keep this. And what's interesting too is all the people on Lake Michigan, if you guys can see them, they look very out of place, and they got their umbrellas, because once again, like I said, I think they've been put into a fearful state to be afraid from the sun. And then they're all just sitting out here on the lake, staring out at the lake, because they've all been kind of shipped in, at least that's my opinion on this, or brought to this area. And then they're going to start their new lives. And then they're going to start businesses and start renovating these places, cutting holes in these things, and then starting to open up little businesses. And what's interesting is here's another castle. Right back here. That's another one. I mean, there's so many.